Hello all. Thank you for joining for our application security meetup regarding data privacy. In this meetup, we will talk about data privacy in modern time. Very interesting lecture from Menny Barzilay, who is actually a friend, a colleague of mine, a long time in the cybersecurity industry. We'll talk about the nowadays, how we are keeping privacy. What is privacy in nowadays? Very interesting and enlightenment lecture. Following that, we'll have a lecture by Alex Geft regarding cyber fraud. Also some examples of cyber fraud that was recently happened. What is the conclusion of all this fraud that was happening, how the attacker used the data also. And we will finish also with privacy training by Yuli, which has his own company, startup company, regarding data privacy and data training of developers. And it will be very interesting. Guys, please feel free to ask questions in our QA in the chat. If you have any questions, we will remain time for question for each lecture. And if there will be additional, so we will keep in the end of the meetup time to ask any questions, and we will answer, of course. So without further ado, I want to invite Menny Barzilay to lecture. Menny is an international known cybersecurity expert, former CISO of the intelligence service in Israel Defense Force, and current the CEO of C-Tactics. He's a strategic advisor of leading enterprise around the world. He's a well-known lecturer. I've been in his lectures several times and every time was amazed and really open-minded. He will lecture today regarding data privacy in modern times. So I do want to invite Menny Barzilay.
Hello,
Menny.
what's up, what's up? Here I am.
The
Do you
share
see
is
me?
all yours.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I'm going to share my screen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Let me share my screen. We only have 40 minutes and my presentation usually takes 4 hours. So I'm going to speak 10 times faster. I don't think the math is right, but you got the idea. We're going to talk about the future of privacy. Leo, thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me to participate in this amazing session. I'm following the things that you do for a long time now. So thank you for moving this industry forward and bringing so much content to so many people. Here we go, privacy, the last days. I'm not going to tell you about myself. Leo has already done that. The only thing that I will tell you that if you want to learn more about who I am and what I do, you can go into my website, menny.com. One of the things that I have there is I have a newsletter where I send once every week the most interesting things that happened in cyber in the past week and some bonus, funny, interesting stuff. So it's free. It's always going to be free, and you are more than welcome to follow me there, menny.com. There are so many things that happen right now, so many interesting topics, so many interesting trends in my field, in cybersecurity world. But for me, probably the most interesting and thought-provoking topic right now is the dark future of privacy. Suddenly, somehow, in the past few months, almost every time I was called to TV to give an interview, the topic was related somehow to privacy. Everybody talks about privacy. Everybody wants to learn more and more about privacy. And let me tell you a story. Something very weird and a bit embarrassing actually happened in one of my last times on television. So I was there talking about various topics related to privacy, and I was wearing a suit and I was using my lower voice to say blah, 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 other things. And you might see me do that again later. And they asked me to talk about how big companies have new ways for collecting information about us. Obviously, I talked about that and the methods. Not that the topic was so interesting, but I tried to put some life into it. At the end of the interview, the lady who interviewed me asked me a question. this question left me stumped. I was there on television, like, didn't know what to say. She asked me a simple question, something that we should all know the answer for. And yet I was there having no words. And it's very important to understand that on television, sometimes you have 10 seconds to convey a message that otherwise would take you 10 minutes to explain to people. And the simple question that she asked me, that left me there stumped, that left me there without any words, that made me think about this moment for the weeks after, the question was, after I explained that there are so many companies that collect more information, the question was, so what? And this is me, there, on air, no words, trying to figure out how can I pass the next 10 seconds and what answer should I give? And I just did that. And that brings me to a very important question. What is privacy? Why is privacy important? It seems like we have the ability to talk about the fact that privacy is important. We can even stand and fight for privacy when needed. We can scream, we can yell, but when they ask us to explain what is privacy and why privacy is important, most of us are left without being able to explain. We know that it is important, but we don't know why. And I read and I researched and I went through so many academic research papers to try and figure out what is the answer. And the number one thing that I understood is that people do not agree what is privacy. And there are various definitions to privacy. And for many people, it was very, very important to define privacy in a very good way, because if you want to sue people, if you want to charge people for violating people's privacy, you have to first define what is privacy. Otherwise, you cannot go to the law of court and tell them, well, you have to go to jail because you violated someone's privacy. If they might ask, what is privacy? And the judge or the lawyer doesn't know how to explain that, we are in a bit of a problem. So I designed this thought experiment just to show you the surprising nature of privacy. And the thought experiment goes like that. You're going to the beach with your girlfriend. You can translate it to whatever you want, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, whatever you want. You go there with your, well, I'm not sure it would work with husband and boyfriend, but we will try. You go to the beach with your girlfriend. You take pictures of everything, your legs, your feet to the beach, the sunset, the beer on the sand, whatever, everything like everybody's doing. And you put those 20, 30, 40 pictures on Facebook, titling them A Wonderful Day at the Beach. Up until that point, you didn't do anything strange. You just did something that everybody is doing. Then you get to your office, and when you go inside your office, you see that one of your co-workers is very, very happy. And you go into his room, and you see that this very happy co-worker actually has a picture of your girlfriend in a bikini on his wall. He took one of the pictures that you uploaded yesterday and put it on his wall. And you're not sure if this is some kind of a practical joke, or if someone is like, is this like, what's going on? And you come to him and you say, hi. And he says, hi. And you say, well, why do you have a picture of my girlfriend on, on your wall? And he says, what do you mean? And you ask him, what do you mean? What do I mean? I thought the question was pretty clear. Why do you have a picture of my girlfriend on your wall? And he says, well, you published it on Facebook. And you say, yeah. And he says, well, and you published it because you thought people will enjoy watching it. And I really enjoyed watching it. So I printed it out and put it on my wall. And you look at him and you're amazed. You're not even sure that this person is sane. And you're telling him, what this is my girlfriend. What do you do? Don't print out pictures from my Facebook. Those are my pictures. Don't do that. This is my girlfriend. What's wrong with you? And he says, well, sorry. I thought you shared it because you wanted people to enjoy it, he takes it out, he throws it away, and he says, sorry, it's never going to happen again. I will never print out any of your pictures. Truly sorry. Let's keep on being friends. And you're still angry, but you say, okay, it was a small mistake. I will let it go. Next day, you get to your work and you see that this guy is still happy. You're already suspecting him. You're coming to him and you say, why are you happy? And then you see that he has, instead of printing out your girlfriend picture, he just created a shortcut on his desktop. Then when he double clicks it, it opens the Facebook, the same picture of your girlfriend on Facebook. And you come to him and say, well, didn't we have this discussion yesterday? Why do you have a shortcut of my girlfriend, of a picture of my girlfriend on your desktop? Now he is really confused. He says, I'm not sure I understand. It's on Facebook. You put it there because you wanted people to see it. This is the reason you posted it on Facebook. I didn't do anything. I'm just going to your Facebook watching pictures that you shared. Now, you're not exactly sure what went wrong in the process. On one hand, you feel it was okay to share those pictures. On the other hand, you feel that it's not okay that people watch them. And you don't know how those two things can coexist. You're telling him, well, don't watch any of my girlfriend picture on Facebook. Don't go to those pictures. Please stop. He says, okay. He deletes this shortcut. He says, I promise I will not watch any of your girlfriend's picture. I'm truly sorry. I didn't know it would make you angry. Can we still be friends? He said, okay, you're still angry. They say, okay, let's do that. Day 3, you get into your office. You're already angry. And you're angry because you know that examples come in threes. Now, you go into your friend's room and you see that he is smiling. But now, instead of looking at your girlfriend picture, he's looking at your pictures. Like when you're a young kid and your family's picture, and you feel so violated. You feel that this person is violating your privacy. You are blocking him on Facebook, which is one of the most terrible things that one human being can do to another. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense. On one hand, we share things for people to watch. On the other hand, we feel uncomfortable when they do. Apparently, when we share something on Facebook and other places, we share them with a secret rule book, a secret set of rules, a transparent set of rules. Nobody knows them, but those rules present the way we expect people to consume the information that we share. It's okay to watch all of those pictures together. It's not okay to take one picture and focus on it for a long time. It's okay to do that while you scroll down as part of looking at other things. It's not okay to print out one of those pictures and try to see everything that goes on inside it. It's okay to watch all of those pictures together. It's not okay to take just one picture. And I can give many other examples, but what that shows us that privacy is a matter of context. The same person, the same data in some scenarios would be considered as privacy violation, and in others, for us, and in others would be considered as a legitimate use. And that just shows you the surprising nature of privacy. You dance in your room, you think that you're all alone, you do your moves, and then you turn it around and you see one of your friends there, your family, your wife, your husband, your mother, your whatever it is, someone who loves you. Someone who enjoys looking at you, enjoying yourself. But because this person watched you while you didn't know that, and you danced and everything, you are so embarrassed, and you're flushing, and you're red, and you shut the door, and you don't want to see this person for the next hour. At the same time, you have a criminal stealing $200 from your credit card. Apparently, most people would prefer having the scenario where the criminal steal their money than the scenario where someone is watching them while they don't know when they do something embarrassing like that. That shows you that privacy violation has real damage. And it costs more than $200 for people, because if you put one against the other, people would prefer option B over option A. And those are just some examples this private nature of privacy. But let me give you another aspect of that. And that relates to the fact that people say, I don't care. Some people say, when I tell them, well, you post a lot of things on Facebook, don't you mind that people will see them and people that you don't know will read it? And people would say, I don't care. Like, people can do whatever they want. I don't care. So let's test this I don't care claim. So what we did is that I saw on television this experiment that was done. I think it was in the United States, and I really liked it. So I sent it to one of the people from television. I told them, this is really cool. Let's do that. And we did that. And the experiment goes like that. We took a big sign, and this big sign says coffee for a like. That means that if you go into this coffee place and you show them that you liked their page, they will give you free coffee. And this lady who puts the sign there, she worked for us. And here she is talking to a client, and she tells the client, well, we have this promotion today. If you will like the Facebook page of the coffee place, we will give you free coffee. And people like the page. What they didn't know is that we were sitting not so far away from there, monitoring the Facebook's page. And whenever a person liked the Facebook page, we started investigating and collecting information about them. We collected their hobbies, things that they did, things that happened to them. And we shared this information with the lady who actually provide the customer with the coffee. And what she did is that she went there to their table, she gave them the coffee, and she started spilling out information about them. All the information is from their Facebook. She didn't do anything else. Oh, you were a teacher. Why did you stop being a teacher? Did your son already came back from the United States? How's your dog? And the name of the dog and other things as well. And people's reactions were amazing. People felt attacked. They felt suspicious. They didn't know what's going on. They started getting angry. This was eventually obviously published on television, but on television, it was not as good as it was in real life. And you know why? Because most of the people that experienced that didn't give us the authority to publish it on television. People got really angry. They yelled, they screamed, they felt that they were really offended by that. And that challenges the whole concept of I don't care. You do care, because when a person knows information about you and you don't know who this person is, it creates some kind of an asymmetry of power, an asymmetry of dominance. And you feel that this person is much stronger than you are in this situation. It makes you feel offended. So what is privacy? After a lot of research, a lot of reading, I eventually decided what would be, for me, the best definition of privacy. And I spent a lot of time refining it and making it what it is. And this is the definition: right to control data that you believe that can directly or indirectly change people's perception of you. Let's just focus on the specific aspects of this definition, so it would be clear why this is the right definition. First of all, for something to be considered private, or for something to be considered privacy violation, the information that got leaked or known to a third party should be related in some ways to you. It has to be related to you. If it's not related to you, it cannot be considered private from your aspect or privacy violation. Okay. The second thing is change people's perception of you. And this is the most important thing. So sometimes people say that privacy is your PIN code for your credit card and so on and so forth. But this is not privacy. This is secrecy. Your PIN code is secret. Private is something that you feel okay for some people to know in some contexts and not feel okay for other people to know in other contexts. So change people's perception of you. That means that this information might enable people to think about you bad things or things that you don't want them to think. So this is it. If the information is not related to the way people might perceive you, it's not considered private. And I challenge you to challenge this. Try to think about examples which do not sit well with this definition. So data and information. When I say data and information, I mean it in the broadest way possible. That means that the way you look, the way you sound, your place, your phone number, everything which is related to you in the broadest way possible, this is data. And what we're talking about, the things that you believe. So this is a matter of perception. Some people might consider something private and other people might not consider it private. So things that you believe, this is subjective in that sense. And this is your right to control them. You want to know, you want to be able to control which person knows which data and in what way they are exposed to it, and directly and indirectly. So the information is not, this is very important, because your IP address might be considered private. Why? Even though it would not change people's perception of you, your IP address might be considered private because it might be used by someone to collect information without your knowledge, that this information might be used to change the perception of you. So this is an indirect way of access. Your gender, your sexual orientation, your health situation, this is information that directly can change people's perception of you. But your IP address, your I don't know, your location, and so on and so forth, those things might change the perception of you indirectly. So this is where our story begins. And we've already, I think, consumed half of the time that we have for this talk. And I have so many other things to tell you. So I'm going to try and move through the next step very, very fast. So our story starts in June 2013 when we elected the king of digital privacy. And I don't know if you remember who that was. It was this guy, Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden worked in one of the most secret places in the United States and one of the secret places in the world, which is the National Security Agency. One day, Edward Snowden decides to take many, many secret documents and publish them on the internet. And one of the first things that Edward Snowden published was information about a project named PRISM. Now, the thing that Edward Snowden really published was this presentation. This is a top secret, highly sensitive presentation from the NSA. And nobody would have supposed to see it, definitely not us, definitely not people from different countries, enemies of the United States. Nobody was supposed to see this presentation. And now out there and everybody can actually see that. And the more we learn about this presentation, the more we invest in this presentation, we learn two interesting things. Number one, what is the PRISM project? The PRISM project is a system for collecting information from private companies like Yahoo, Microsoft, Facebook, Google, YouTube, and others. So the NSA has more access to information and data than any other company in the world. And inside this data, a lot of private data. The second thing that we learn when we investigate this presentation is that the NSA are terrible with designing presentations. There is no excuse for this design. I don't know how did they have the courage to create this slide. So this revelation about the fact that private companies sharing information with the NSA created a lot of public criticism surrounding the US government. Many people hit the street and they called Edward Snowden their hero, and thank you, Edward Snowden, for everything that you did. A lot of the discussion about digital privacy started when Edward Snowden shared the information from within the NSA. Many of the regulations that were published in the past 5 years or 10 years happened because of Edward Snowden. But now, drum roll, please, ladies and gentlemen, we are about, thank you so much, Leo, we are about to elect the next king of digital privacy. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think about this guy, but this is the guy. Now, it's not about politics. It's not about whether you like him or hate him. It's not about whether you agree with him or think that he's stupid. We must agree that this is the person that brought the concept of fake news to the public. And what I want to try and explain right now, or convince you right now, is that fake news is a much bigger deal than what most people think. And I'm going to do it with 3 stories or 3 points. I mean, I'm going to do it very, very fast. Point number 1 starts with a joke. I'm not that good with telling jokes, so I actually cut and pasted 2 jokes into this presentation. I will read them, and you will please try to laugh at the end. Why do French people eat snails? Well, they don't like fast food. Joke number 2, what is Forrest Gump's password? And the answer is 1 Forrest 1. Thank you everybody who laughed. The reason I'm telling you this joke, there is a reason, right? One of the biggest lies that our parents told us as kids is that we are very unique and we are very special and there is no one like us in the world. Humanity, people are always dealing with the differences between us. Our height, our gender, our weight, our skin color, our race, we are always dealing with the differences between us. But the truth is that humans are almost identical. If our brain is some kind of computer program, the same input would cause the same output for people all over the world. We all watch the same movies. People all over the world laugh at the same time, enjoy the same things, admire the same people, make the same wrong assumptions, and are being surprised by the same things. And the most amazing thing about this movie is that the person who wrote the script didn't leave his house. He was sitting in his room, turning off his phone, not going outside, writing, and he reached a point where he wrote something funny and he started laughing. And he said to himself, well, if it makes me laugh, it will probably make everyone else laugh. The fact he knows that we are so similar to one another and so similar to him that this guy doesn't have to ask us that if this will make us laugh or if this will make us happy. He knows we are so similar to him. We go to this new website, we are requested to select a new password, and it's very strange to discover again and again that many different people select the same passwords. It's not like they decided on the same passwords. It's not like we met somewhere and we decided that we will choose those passwords. When 100 million passwords are being leaked to the world, we discover that usually those 100 million passwords for 100 million users, we discover that in those 100 million passwords, there are only 20 million passwords which are unique. So most people decide on passwords like other people, and that's amazing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a magic trick now. If you are familiar with this magic trick and you're sitting there with someone, don't ruin it to other people. So just laugh anyway. So this is a magic trick. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to ask you to select a card. I'm not trying to influence you in any way. I'm not trying to influence you in any way. Select a card. Make sure you memorize this card. Make sure you remember everything about this card. I will give you 3 more seconds to choose a card. And now that you remember your card, I'm going to do this, and your card has vanished. Magic. Yeah. So the thing is that some of you have already got the point. None of those cards appear in the next slide. So it wouldn't matter which card you will choose, it will obviously vanish. We have magicians because people are similar. We have movies, we have jokes, we have books, we have everything because people are similar. But those similarities goes much deeper than that. We are actually predictable in the deepest way possible. And the person who would tell you about it best is this guy. Some of you might know who this guy is. This is Danielle Kahneman, a Nobel Prize winner. And he also wrote the book Thinking Fast and Slow. And this is a brilliant book. I recommend everyone to read this book. And in this book, he talks about 2 systems, System 1 and System 2. System 1 in our brain is a system which is in charge of 90%, 95% of our thinking. And System 2 is a system that's in charge of 5% of our thinking. System 1 is the intuitive and instinctive system. When we see something that being thrown at us, we catch it. This is system one. When we see someone and remember his name, this is system one. When we drive on the road, and we see something goes into the road and we decided to take right, this is system one. System one is in charge of 95% of all of our thinking. And system two only starts when system one cannot find the answer. So let's see how system one works. This was supposed to work for everyone and anyone, right? So this is system one. We are all working in the same way. When I ask you how much is 2 plus 2, you know that this is 4, and this is system one. When I ask you how much is 22 times 22, this is system two. System one cannot find the answer. It tells you it's probably something with 4, right? Maybe 444, you don't know. This is the first. System one tries to find an answer, but when system one understands this is too much, it calls system two and says, hey, sister, come here, please. I have a question for you. And then system two slowly thinks about this answer. And system one is so efficient and is so quick because it has many shortcuts, many tricks that it does in order to work fast. You know, it happened to you many, many times. You walk down the street, in the corner of your eye, you see someone that you think that you know, and this person just passed, and you stop, and then you turn around and you look at this person again, and then you see that this is not the person that you thought, and you're not even sure why did you think that this is the person. So this is exactly system one and system two. System one reduces the amount of information that it consumes in order to work very, very fast. So system one saw some kind of a familiar shape or some kind of familiar gesture or something like that and said, hey, it might be this person. And then system two started working, analyzing everything, and decides, no, this is not the person. And because system one works, it has so many shortcuts and tricks, it can be fooled and it can be manipulated. And you know what? This is nothing new. We know that. We knew that since we were kids. There is this game or riddle or something where young kids play, and we did it many times in Israel. And if you're not from Israel, so you probably also have some kind of version of this game. And this game goes something like that. The kid asks you, what is the color of the paper? And you go and say white. And what is the color of the cloud? And you say, well, white. What is the color of this egg? And you say white and white and white and white. And then a kid asks you, what does the cow drink? And you would say milk. And obviously this is wrong. The cow drinks water. But this is how system one can be fooled. System one tries to find a quick answer to a question. And it does that. One of the systems that it uses is association. So cow is associated with milk. And when someone asks drink, system one says milk, probably milk, most likely milk, milk. But when system two starts thinking about it, obviously it reaches another conclusion. So I'm going to jump a bit forward, and I'm going to tell you there are many, many of those systems, many of ways to manipulate people's thinking. I'll just give you maybe 1 or 2 examples. I just gave you one with the milk, but let me give you just a few examples to see how system one can be manipulated. So one of the biases, one of the systems that we have, one of the tricks the system one is doing is the authority bias. When we see authority, system one says, let's listen to this person. And this is a very easy experiment. You can just take one of those vests and stand on the street and ask people to move to the other pavement, to the other sidewalk. And everybody will move to the other sidewalk. And people will now doubt you because system one will say, oh, that's probably someone important, probably knows what he's talking about. And they will move to the other sidewalk. Another bias, which is very, very interesting, is the ownership bias. Apparently, we think that things cost more when we have them. So if you have, I don't know, if you bought this guitar for, I don't know, $1,000, and a day after that, someone comes to you and says, wow, this is such an amazing guitar. I want to buy it for, I don't know, $1,200. You would say, no, 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 this is my guitar. It costs much, much more. We yesterday paid $1,000 for it. But just the fact that we already own it, we feel that its value goes up. So I will not invest. I will just tell you about this experiment because it's such a beautiful experiment. It goes like that. You put two TVs, one against next to the other. One costs $300, the other one costs $600 or whatever, and both of them look very, very good. And then you ask people which one they will buy, and most people will buy the cheaper one. It looks good enough. You wouldn't want to invest just another $300. But then something interesting happened. You add another option. You add an option in the middle, $300, $450, and $600. What happened now? So the thing that happened now is that everybody buy the expensive one. That's very interesting, just by adding another option. Why? Because when you have three options, usually you would say, oh, the cheapest one, I don't even consider it. So now you only consider the two top options. And now the gap is not that big. And because of that, you decide to buy the most expensive one. And this is something that is well known in the marketing world, and it's exploited all the time. And you can find manuals on the internet on how to define different options to your customers to make them buy the most expensive one. So this is it. I'm jumping a bit ahead. So many different examples how this is being exploited. But my point was, we are all similar and we can all be manipulated in the same way. Story number 2, or point number 2, discuss privacy mining, the collection of more and more and more of our privacy. And this is going to happen because we are about to connect everything to the internet. Our shoes, the table, the chairs, the lamp, the doors, the refrigerator, everything is going to be connected to the internet, and we call it the Internet of Things. Now, it seems like this is a good thing, right? Because we are making things smart. Shoes become smart shoes, tables become smart tables, watches become smart watches, cars become smart cars, televisions become smart televisions, refrigerators become smart refrigerators. We are making everything smart. It seems like Albert Einstein would be very proud with our achievements as human beings. But if you look closely on those smart things, you have to admit that some of those smart things are maybe a bit stupid. So someone invented a smart hairbrush. So now you can brush your hair. You can get statistics on your computer on the process on brushing your hair and tips on how to improve in this highly complex process of brushing your hair. I'm not sure why someone would need such a thing. This is a smart ring. You put it on your finger. It doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything until the moment you die. When you die, it would publish on Twitter, "Hi, I'm dead." This is a smart toilet that will collect information about how much you leave behind. And you can create this family competition, who was the most active person in the house, and compare notes during the weekend dinner, family weekend dinner. And this is a smart watch that will track your stress level, which is great. But apparently, if you're too stressed, the smartwatch will scream at you that being stressed is not good for you and you must relax right now, which is not exactly the way to make people relax. This is a smart condom that will track information about how you are doing whatever you're doing, and will give you tips on how to improve. This is actually great. I have anything bad to say about the smart condom. But the thing is, those devices, those IoT devices, those smart devices bring a small change to the world that will have dramatic effect. And the small change says that those smart devices transforms the world from where everything is always off to everything is always on. Let me explain. Our phone's camera is off unless we turn it on. Smart devices are on unless we turn it off. So think about this watch. This watch always works, always collect information unless I tell it otherwise. This is the opposite of the way cameras work. So those devices will collect information all the time, and many types of information, and they will even collect information when we didn't mean them to collect information. So those smart devices will allow companies to collect more and more and more of our data, huge amount of our data. And not just like that, those devices will create digital representation of information that up until recently was not available online. Our heartbeats, the way we eat, the way we go to the restroom, the way we have sex, the way we sleep, all of those things will have digital representation, and they will completely change the way we think about the world. So just as an example, how those devices will collect private information that nobody meant for them to collect. This is a brilliant story about a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and they both had Fitbit. And you're familiar with Fitbit, the smartwatch that will help you track your exercises. And the thing is that with Fitbit, you can sync two watches. So if you have someone, you're usually doing your exercise session with them, you run together, you cycle together or whatever, you can sync the Fitbit, and then you will get information about each and everybody's exercises. So this girlfriend and boyfriend had those watches synced. And suddenly, the girlfriend sees that 4 a.m., her boyfriend is very, very active. He's involved in some kind of a exercise without leaving a house, which was not his house. And this is how she caught him cheating. The police was able to prove that this guy murdered his wife by analyzing her smart watch. And those companies collect a lot of sensitive information. There's a brilliant story about Strava. Some of you might know Strava. It's an app, a mobile app that will help you track your exercise sessions, mostly for cyclists. So if you use your bicycle to go in various lanes and you want to discover and you want to track your exercise, Strava is the application for you. One day, Strava, as part of a marketing campaign, published this heat map where if you zoom in and zoom in more, you can see which places people run and which places people cycle. And this is a great way to discover new places to cycle and run. And if you get to a new country and every morning you run and you want to discover where people usually run, you can go to Strava, to this heat map. And this is a great map. It's available online. But while we see that there are many people who run in places like Europe or in the United States, there are some places which are very, very dark, like this place, Afghanistan. Nobody is there. Obviously, nobody's using Strava in Afghanistan. And when we zoom in on Afghanistan, we see that actually nobody's using Strava there. But some of you might notice that there are some points with a bit of light, like those 2 points. And if you zoom in, you see, yeah, there is something there. And if you zoom in even more, you see that there is a place where a lot of people use Strava and smartwatches. And who would use that in Afghanistan? Strava, by sharing this heat map without the intention of doing so, revealed the secret places of the United States Army bases in Afghanistan. So this is just to show you how those IoT devices that will collect information can share huge amount of data about us that we didn't even understand that they collect. So IoT is all about senses. We communicate with computers today usually via keyboards and mouth, but we communicate with those smart devices via other means: movement, voice, heat, heartbeat, steps, and other things as well. So the collection of more and more of our privacy via those devices. I'm going to jump a bit forward because I have 5 more minutes, right, Leo? I have 5 more minutes. Yeah. So 15 minutes from now, I will finish. No, just 5 more. So I want to just touch the last point, which is direct access. Some people still think that the internet is free. Facebook is free, Google is free, other companies are free. But the fact that we're not paying money for those services doesn't mean that they're free. Facebook and other companies are big machines that transform privacy into profit. You put privacy on one hand, you get profit on the other hand. This is what they do. And in order for them to make more and more profit, they need more and more of our privacy. And I'm not blaming Facebook and Google and other companies. This is not their fault. This is what we wanted. People are not willing to pay for services. Every time a company says, let me change the model, I will take money for those services, people say, no, 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 no. We prefer for you to use our privacy and not take money. Companies would be much happier if we would pay them and not if they will use ads. So just to make point number 3 very, very quick. So those companies, their business model is based on collection of our data and then organizing our data, categorizing us. So if you would just see in what ways Facebook categorize us. So Facebook knows about our politics view, our life events, anniversary, new job, away from family, newlywed, our finance, friends of, are we friends of newly engaged? Are we friends of newlyweds? And so on and so forth. But those are just 4 examples of a huge amount of categories that Facebook has about each and every one of us. So let's connect everything together. Let's take the fact that we all have the same cognitive biases. This is point number 1. And we will add to that the intensive privacy mining that we're going to see in the years to come. And we will add to that the fact that we are all connected to companies that put us in different categories. And we will get one of the biggest problems that humanity faces right now, which is programmable people. The ability to change people's behavior by using psychology, technology, and data. The fact that we can be manipulated, with the fact that there is ability to collect information about each and every one of us, with the fact that we're connected to platforms that allow third parties to show us information and do some kind of behavioral manipulation and behavioral experiment. Through Facebook, I can show people's information and see how it changes the way they think and the way they behave. That brings us to the ability of third parties, of entities, to change people's perceptions and ideas and thoughts. And obviously that relates directly to the interference of the Russians in the United States elections. And every interference in every election process around the world happens in so many countries around the world. If we had more time, I would just show you examples on how easy it is to manipulate people's thinking and people's thought about different ways. Just as a last recommendation, please watch the movie about Cambridge Analytica. If you don't know what it is, Cambridge Analytica is a commercial company. Their business was changing people's perception. This is from their website. I took it from their website, and this is what Cambridge Analytica says. Cambridge Analytica uses data to change audience behavior. Visit our commercial and political divisions. This is it. So let me just jump to the end of the presentation because I want to be respectful to your time and other presenters. There are other speakers here and they are brilliant, and I want to give you the time to enjoy what they have to say. And I just want to say that the best way to deal with the manipulation of our thoughts, our ideas through fake data, fake ideas, fake news, by showing us information which is half true or biased towards one side, or by making us believe that something is good or something is bad. And there are so many ways to do that. The best way to deal with that is critical thinking. Let me close that. Critical thinking is something that each and every one of us should learn and should exercise. I would encourage you to Google critical thinking, and you would find many books and articles on how to identify when information is biased, when information is written in a way which is intended for you to reach a certain conclusion, even though it is not true. Let me give you just one example on how easy it is to take fact and make something bad out of it. And the fact is that vaccinations increase your chance of dying from cancer. I know some people say, well, what did he say? Yeah, let me say that again. Vaccinations increase your chances to die from cancer. Why? Because they reduce your chances to die from everything else. There are higher chance that you will not die when you're a kid because of different sickness. There is a higher chance that you will not die when you are older for different. So obviously, every other way of dying, including falling down, including being in a car accident, the chances of that increases because you live longer due to vaccinations. So this is just an example how you can take a fact which is mathematically right, but manipulate it in order to make people think that vaccination is terrible, which is obviously not the truth. We are all in favor of vaccinations. Vaccinations are the most important thing. You should use them. This is it. If you have any ideas, thoughts, if you want to challenge something that I said, if you want to keep in touch, just drop me a message on my website, join my newsletter, the most interesting stories of cyber every week. And let me say again, thank you to Lior for hosting us and organizing this event and doing such a wonderful job in preparing us. And he spent many hours in talking to each and every one of us, making sure we understand who is the target audience. And thank you for all the other speakers who are here with me. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Menny. It was a great and insightful lecture. So thank you for that.